If you're not sick about hearing about the Meta's Andrometa update just yet, then hats off to you because it's been blowing up across everywhere. The reason it has been blowing up is because it's having massive impacts on how we're running our Meta ads, pretty much more than most other updates that we've had in the past. The reason for this is it's a completely new way for Meta to actually pick the ad that it displays to the person. When someone's using a Meta platform, so Instagram or Facebook, any of that, there will pop up a spot for an ad, and Meta has to go and look through billions of ads and creatives to decide who should get that spot for that customer. And this is based off a whole bunch of demographics about that person, about their interests. And it used to be that we would go through and select all that ourselves. That's been going out for a long time, but now it's completely out. It's gone. You no longer need to super hyper target your ads. In fact, you don't really even need to just target your ads. You're going to be relying much more on your content, so the written content and your creative, in order to do that targeting for you. And that's what this Andrometa update has really brought about, because what they're doing now is using AI to analyze your graphic or your creative, find out who it would be best suited for. So it's looking at not just the type of creative, so it's not video, a carousel, single image, any of that. It's looking at what colors are used, what imagery is used. Is there a person in that ad? So if there is, then is it like the target audience? It's also looking at the length of the videos, all the factors that a human would take into consideration subconsciously, looking at the creative and trying to work out who the best person for it is. Andrometa Update is doing that for Meta. What you need to now do, and I'll run through a guide on how we're actually setting up our ad campaigns now to leverage this, but essentially what Andrometa has come up with and what Meta has come out with about Andrometa is you need to focus on supplying a heap of different data points for Andrometa to be able to pick the right ad for the right person. So what I mean by this, and I'll just pull up my Meta account. Okay, so this is an actual live campaign for a customer that we're running this for, but it's a great example of how we're setting it up. So like I said, totally changed our campaign structure. So now what we do is we have a campaign, we have one ad set, and then we have a heap of different ads targeting different points in the customer journey, different interests, and all of those things. There's types of ads that you should have in pretty much every single campaign that you set up. And I'll run through those at this point. So there's a couple of different ads that you're going to need for every one of your ad sets now, or every one of your campaigns. And I'll run through those one by one and kind of explain what you need to put in them. So let's start at the top. The classic carousel. There's a couple of different types of ads that are going to work really well to get you that diversified graphic style, also to touch on the different points of people's customer journey. And I'll run through what those are quickly. But essentially what you're wanting is a very diverse range of graphics. So it's no longer the same graphic, different text. It's no longer, a blue shirt, a yellow shirt, a green shirt, or just very minor variations in the one graphic. You want to have very unique, very specific graphics for each of your campaigns. This works for products and it also works for services. So the first one is your typical carousel, which is just multiple slides with different offers in each one or different products in each one. So it might be the different styles of a t-shirt, or it might be your different services just in a carousel, so a graphic, text, and then so on. The next one is your features and benefits. So what we like to do is have a image in your creative, then with a text beside it or above it, but a graphic showing something very specific to the offer. And then the features and benefits is going to break down what that offer actually does. So if it's a product, what it's made of, how it's used, those sorts of things. If it's a service, then you're going to go into what do people get, how does it help them, and then you can expand that out. So essentially what you're trying to do is you're not going in for the hard sell, you're just presenting the data about the product. This creates a very unique creative. The next one is what I like to call to the point. This is a graphic that just hits you in the face exactly what the service is, or the product. So if you're offering a lawyer in Sydney, it's like, do you need a lawyer? Here we are. And it's just like a slap in the face to the person saying, this is what we do and this is who we do it for. So it could be, if you're a small business, example of the lawyer, have you been hit by a car and you're looking for a lawyer to sue for damages? Here we are. So it's kind of taking any of the ambiguity out of your marketing and just putting it into one ad. The next is the us versus them. This gets a little bit tricky depending on what country you're in. You don't want to get a competitor's product and bash it. But what you can do is do like us versus the theoretical them. So in this case, we just said our XYZ versus their XYZ. And it was kind of like, who is the them? Well, we don't really know, but we're just highlighting what we do better than everyone else. The next one is the founder story. So talking about having a video in particular with this one is very important. Having a video of the owner or a manager or a recognizable face in the business talking about why the product or the service was a benefit to them, or how they came up with the idea to offer this service or product, and just talk about it in a very matter-of-fact storytelling way. This adds another dimension to your creatives that's really helpful. In this case, we've also added in a video image carousel where we've got videos in a carousel as well as images. Kind of makes sense. It's not a hard required one. You can add it if you want to. All of these ones that I'm showing you, not essential in terms of they're essential to have a well-running ad, but it's just a way of breaking down to hit all of the points that Meta has told us about that they're looking for. So if you have these in there, then it's kind of the minimum. And then you can expand out with more and more creatives that are different, unique, hit different points. So this is the minimum. You obviously don't need all of them exactly, but if you do hit these, then you're going to hit all of the points that Meta is looking for. The next one is stats and proof. So this is saying, look, we've done this before. Here's what we've done. Here was the results. And just having it as that, and then you can do the offer in the text. The face to camera. This is literally you talking to the camera saying, this is what we do, this is what you get, this is why you need it. It's different to the founder story, where the founder story is very much more conversational. The face to camera is a little bit more direct in the advertising style or the marketing style. The only one that I don't have on here is the testimonials. And this can be a graphic. So for example, like a flat graphic with text on it with the testimonials. Or what's even better is your UGC style content. So getting someone who's used it, you've sent it to, or have purchased it, and they're doing a review in a very, very UGC style. So user generated content style. That would be another great one to have in here. Like I said, from here, you can build off that. Your carousel doesn't need to be a carousel of images. It can be a carousel of videos. You don't have to do the us versus them left to right. You could have us, them on two different carousels, or you could have us versus them below each other. It's not hard and fast rules, but if you're hitting all of those points, it's the way that we've found ticks off on everything that Meta is looking for. So hopefully this has cleared up what you need to be doing with your campaigns, how you're going to change them. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll see you in the next one.